are Pro Cannabis Media.
Hi everyone, welcome again to another edition of In the Weeds on the road in the Big Apple in New York City at the Javits Center. This is where the CWCB Expo has been going on over the last few days. And of course, we're meeting a lot of interesting people. And I find my way to the MainStem Inc. booth with Alan Wynn. I got it right. Did I or not? Alain.
There you go.
I screwed it up. I'm not going to redo it because I don't care. No, I do care. More importantly, I made the man laugh. Explain to me, first of all, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking with me. Tell me a little bit about your company.
Likewise, and thanks for taking the time out. MainStem is a supply chain software platform. We're solving the supply chain for ancillary products in the cannabis industry. So operators use our platform to manage all of their purchasing for all their different dispensaries, cultivation sites, and processing sites.
There's a lot of competition in this space. What differentiates your software, your program from others?
Sure, so our software is really geared towards the customer. It's helping them manage the purchasing for their own organization. With a lot of M&A going on and buying lots of companies, they're still operating in a very fragmented way. We pull all that together so the customers can really see what their demand is and then put that to our supply chain of suppliers underneath.
As an ancillary member of the cannabis industry, there are challenges, just like there are those that are in the plant touching side of things, right?
Yes.
How challenging has it been for your company to get your banking, get your research, get your funding, all the challenges that everybody seems to be facing in this industry?
Well, banking's always been an issue. That was very difficult for us early on, also payment processing. I would say about 2 or 3 years into it, we've got now a pretty good credit union that allows us to do banking. Payment processing we've had solidified for a couple of years. So those pieces of those nuances are taken care of. The bigger one that we're dealing with now is the global supply chain issues that we're seeing, right? All of the ports being backed up, all of the containers being waited for delivery. Those are the problems that we're dealing with now.
Yeah, in fact, there's going to be, or maybe already has happened, a rolling paper shortage or pre-rolled cone shortage that's many members of the industry are freaked out about.
Absolutely.
How is that supply chain affecting you guys?
Well, it's affecting everyone. And so what we do is we help customers try to get in front of it. And so what a lot of folks don't know is a lot of the manufacturing for the pre-roll cones, it's manual labor. There's no machinery that rolls the cones. Unlike tobacco, where they're cylindrical, there's machines that do that. These are conical, so they're hand rolled. And so that backlog, and there's only a couple of factories that support the vast majority of distributors and suppliers here in the U.S. So what we do is we help customers get into that queue within the manufacturer side, and that's what our technology does.
Now, call me crazy. Over the years, I've rolled a few joints, okay?
Yeah.
And we all know you got the pregnant one in the middle, and you got to learn how to, arrange the flower so it's like a V and makes it a little easier for you. But am I crazy to think, why do we need to have joints that are rolled like cones when if it makes sense to actually make them more like tobacco cigarettes to produce them? I mean, I don't think that we're making up the laws as we go along in this industry, right? So do you think we'll see a change at some point?
We can. And so one of the main reasons that they're that shape is because how they're packaged. They fall within each other, so when they ship, they can ship 1,000 of them in a box that's compact. If they weren't that way, you wouldn't be able to stack them together. So a big part of that is because of that. Now, in the future, if that gets advanced, we'll probably see lots of different nice, unique ways to roll joints.
There you go. Hey, that's the thing I love about this industry, because we're making history by being in it.
Absolutely.
Right? And you feel like you are part of history, don't you?
Absolutely. I feel like, what we're doing as an industry as a whole, not just our company, but we're building the framework of how an industry can operate for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And a lot of the great innovations we're seeing at the shows and conferences can also be applied to traditional agriculture. That's really exciting. That's very, very exciting.
Yeah. And that's really, a lot of people don't realize this was an agrarian universe for many centuries, right? And there's certainly a trend towards far more conscious of our environment, and perhaps using hemp to be a more as a much more environmentally friendly product than all the carbon stuff that's out there, right? And
Yeah.
so the word that comes up a lot whenever I talk with people is that are in this industry is fascinating. Do you find it fascinating to be part of this industry?
Absolutely. Like, the old adage I hear everybody say is you don't get to see an industry born every couple of years. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So that part's very exciting. But then also seeing, the consciousness of the folks in this industry. So we obviously have capitalism that's driving a lot of this, but the social equity, the consciousness of the people, the stewards of the industry, actually building it along with that is really exciting, because those two things sometimes don't go hand in hand. So that's pretty neat.
Your future, what do you see? There are a lot of people in this industry that believe that legalization is something that should be done in years' time, that perhaps it's time to open up the banking industry. First step, decriminalizing and descheduling the product. Next step. Is that what you think we should be doing, or do you want to go for this home run that a lot of people in this industry want to see, which is total legalization? And I'll let you answer that before I give you my opinion, which is tough for me to do, by the way.
Great question. So I think we see on a microcosm what happens when we open the floodgates, right? So at the state level, when we open the floodgates, a lot of stuff happens. We learn, we pull back. So I'm more of and this is just the way I think, I'm more of the methodical, systematic, strategic laying out. So I like the step-by-step of banking. I like the step-by-step of allowing, outside capital to come in to help provide resources that every other industry and business has. So that way we can start forming our own industry and how it should operate. And then we can put some regulation around it once we've got a good opportunity to build the industry. I'm a big fan of doing it that way.
And how do people get in touch with you, and so we can give you some lead generation, as they say?
Feel free to email me at alen@mainstem.io. That's ALEN @mainstem.io.
That's Alen Wynn from MainStem.io. You said, right?
Yep.
.io. Make sure you get that .io in there. And I appreciate you taking the time. Great to meet you. We'll have more specials from the floor of the CWCB Expo in New York coming up on future editions of In the Weeds with Jimmy Young. Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly.
Weed Talk and In the Weeds are two productions of Pro Cannabis Media supported by Revolutionary Clinics, one of the top medical cannabis dispensaries in the Massachusetts area, now with 3 locations in Greater Boston, 2 in Cambridge and 1 on Broadway in Somerville. Rev Clinics has a patient-first mission. They will customize your needs as a medical patient with the proper titration and combination of strains, flavors, and products. Rev Clinics, where the patient comes first.
Difference is building a solution for that individual. Not just a custom, here's a box, here's a video, here's how you make your VMS. We custom design and custom build every situation for exactly what the customer needs. And we keep the cost low. We have multiple tiers, as far as what you're looking at on the cost side of things. If you want a one-time, where you just pay one initial cost, we have that. If you want to maintain your system and have the highest protection and highest capabilities and highest upgrades at all times, we have different plans for you. But we scale it so it's scalable and affordable 100%.
Pro Cannabis Media programming is available live and on demand on our Facebook page at Pro Canna Media, on Instagram at Pro Cannabis Media, on LinkedIn also at Pro Cannabis Media, on YouTube and YouTube Live on Pro Cannabis Media, Twitter at Pro Canna Media, and on twitch.tv/Pro Cannabis Media. So like, share, and subscribe to all of our content, newsletters, and shows live or on demand.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.